AI technology. Let me go on to my slides very quickly, and then we can start our conversation. Yes. Okay, there you go. I hope we're all looking at my slides well. Wonderful. Well, thanks everyone, and thanks to the Maker Bay Foundation for organizing this webinar. It's a pleasure to share what I have with you, and I certainly would dovetail what Lawrence have shared earlier. Lawrence gave the perspective from Singapore and some of the work that we do. I represent here a couple of organizations. I guess on the slides here, I mentioned about the Global Robot Cluster. This is a network of 22 countries around the world where we look at the use of AI and robotics in different aspects. I also represent the International Alliance of Robotic Association. Now, the topic I want to focus on today is really around how we can leverage AI and robotic technology. I think at the end of the day, when we look at technology, what does it mean to us and how does it actually affect us in a different way? Just a quick introduction to the two organizations. I mentioned about Global Robot Cluster, that this is a group that's based out of Korea in Daegu City. And our goal is to form this network of practicing organizations around the world, associations that are chartered to promote the use of AI and robotics in the respective areas. Of course, today, when we talk to the whole group itself, the maturity of adopting technology varies by the countries. Some countries are slightly more advanced. We talk about the USA, you talk about Finland, Australia, and perhaps even Korea, where they do a lot more. And I guess in terms of the developing countries, they are still very much in the manufacturing space. And the International Alliance of Robotic Association, this is based strictly out of China with support from the international community. And with the opening up of China and the travel restrictions being lifted, I guess there'll be a lot more interaction that's expected to take place. APARA is an association that's based out of Singapore. We spend our time trying to promote and demonstrate the use of technology, particularly in the augmented area. So what can we do to leverage technology to augment human capability and potential is really what we want to say. Where APARA plays a role, the Asia Pacific Assistive Robotic Association, we look at two things, right? Three things perhaps. One is really the use of robotics to augment human potential. And this is where education awareness comes into play. The second is really in the area of providing knowledge and sharing of what's available, the different technology and solutions that is residing in the global community, share best practices, right, to enjoy the experience of whole transformation. So that's kind of what the association does. Just to give you some ideas what we have been doing in the past, right? Very much at the international level, we do a lot of sharing, from working with parties, visiting institutions, getting MOUs in place. We did a program pre-pandemic in 2019 where we looked at the aging population. 9 out of 10 of the countries in ASEAN region came together to share our best practices and our initiative on what can we do in terms of aging technology. Right, so much so for all those introduction. Let me now dive in to look at the use of augmented technology. Well, when we talk about AI, I guess there are many discussions, and Lawrence, I'm sure, gave a very good introduction to the concept of AI. We hear a lot of this nowadays. Two things come to mind, right? One is confusion, right? What is AI, right? Different people talk about AI in different ways. And of course, we talk about application of AI in the machines, on the robots. Then again, it gets a bit more confusing as well because there's so much that's integrated together. The technology is starting to converge and come together to apply. Second is the fear around the fact that such technology could affect our jobs, affect our future, affect our career. So let me try to address both of them as we move on to the presentation. Well, in the first place, I would like to cover a lot around the use of AI in machines, right? And when I talk about a lot of use of AI in machines, it's really a wide spectrum, right? Hollywood has done their part in sharing with you what is possible. But realistically, when we talk about the use of AI in machines or in robots, it is important we are able to find all these different components from location to connection the ability to have connective capability and take specific actions. And in the process of all that, sensing data, collecting data, collaborating with different objects, different machines, with humans, and finally being able to learn as we act and as move forward. So it's a whole gamut of things that we can see happen within the use of artificial intelligence on machines. And of course, machines could really be a robot, or could be a vehicle, or could be an object, and so on and so forth. Right. So this whole space is huge, right? So huge that sometimes we are unable to determine which part of the elephant we're touching, right? We can zoom in and look at machine learning as one aspect of it. We can zoom in at computer vision as another aspect of it. Collaboration between machine to machine and machine to man. Then again, what is important is how does all this affect us? The application of AI actually goes into many, many, many different areas, right? This is just a initial list, a dozen of possible applications, but in realistic terms, we're seeing a lot more of such application taking place from time to time. We are definitely seeing AI move into different space, and Lawrence alluded to ChatGPT earlier, and many of us probably have come across ChatGPT, and that's another huge application of AI affecting education, marketing, and product survey. The question that we should ask ourselves is this, right? If we look at our use of technology, and I refer particularly to the television that we have at home, right? Between 1990, we used to have this big bottom TV that sits in front of us, and we watch TV from there. But over time, we find that we have a better and higher quality of life, such that the TV size has shrunk. We now look at a lot of flat screens, and the additional weight. Yeah. So in 17 years, you see that happening. So what if we move forward another 17 years from today, right? 2023 to 2040, what can we expect to see happening? Now, that is really fundamentally a very interesting question, an extremely interesting question that we should ask ourselves, because do we want what has happened before to happen to us, or should we think of what can we do to manage the growth and change that we can see happen in the coming future? Now, I want to draw our attention to this particular article that was published in Financial Times earlier this year in January, right? And of course, with generative AI or ChatGPT as one of the possible tools in generative AI, we find that technology has advanced so quickly and so fast. It's quite scary. In fact, it's quite scary. On the right-hand side, I share a chart which shows the different technologies, right, from before the year 2000 to 2020, how technology has accelerated so quickly in recent years, right? It took us to better appreciate handwriting recognition in the 90s to where we are today. And we believe we can now have somebody scribble onto a pad and it can recognize the character or the image of it. It took us a long time to fully appreciate speech recognition, right? And recently, with generative AI, the speed of success and ability for us to adopt technology has accelerated so fast and so quickly. So if this continues to happen, can you imagine what's going to happen in the next 5 years? Can you imagine what would possibly be the case if we continue to have such accelerated adoption, creation, innovation of technology? Now, we all know that with this technology comes many, many complications, right? Here I list 5 very important ones that we should seriously think about. One is that technology will get a lot more complex and multifaceted. It's no longer just a singular set of technology, a very singular set of application. We're going to see a lot more integrated model of how technology can support us. And it is important then we are able to appreciate multiple technology as it works with us, as it cohabit with us in our daily lives. Secondly, we need to differentiate between task automation and job displacement. We are slowly seeing a lot of tasks being automated. Now, does it translate into job displacement? That's something that we all need to think about very seriously. And in order not for technology to completely replace us in what we do, we must think about what we want to achieve in the future. I draw all your attention to a movie that I like very much, WALL-E. And most of you may have watched the movie WALL-E. Can you imagine us becoming that flabby, oval-shaped human being that depend on technology so much for everything that we do? What would happen to humans if that is the case? So it means that from now moving forward, our next generation must really build a lot of new skills that are able to better understand technology, and through understanding technology, know how to leverage the technology to support us. Humans must eventually become the masters of technology and not so much slave to technology, because we need to know technology enough in order to use it in the most appropriate way. And going back to my earlier comment around AI, confusion. We need to fully appreciate what is really AI, or what's the emerging technology that we're talking about. Then we can really master the adoption of technology. And that requires us to have good new skills. Coming back to ChatGPT, I think that's something which we all are excited about, given it's hot and new. It seems to really give you all the answers that you need. But there's a new skill that we, especially the new generation, need to pick up, and that is prompt engineering. The ability for you to ask good questions, ask leading questions, ask questions that can help the whole database narrow down into the answer they're looking for. If we only ask binary question, do you do this? Do you do that? You're going to get a binary answer, yes and no. It's not going to give you exactly what you're looking for. So you need to be able to have the skill to set the context, to ask the question in an appropriate way, to make reference to particular past notions that can then bring the AI system to give you the answer that you're looking for. That's going to be a new skill, right? It is not just an aspect of asking questions, but asking good questions. I draw the analogy to the attorney, the defense counsel, the lawyers in the court. How would a lawyer ask questions in order to extract the answer that he's expecting from the witness? That is a skill, and that skill must be taught in school so that all our next generation is able to ask the right question, ask good leading questions that can prompt good answers for their use. Now that brings us probably to the next point that I've listed on the screen: ethical and trustworthiness. How can we make sure that the information that we're referring to, the database that's giving you all the answers, is trustworthy? And how is the engine giving you the ethical response that you're looking for? That requires us to build or establish high standards of professionalism. And of course, the discussion that you hear from Lawrence earlier was right to the point. We need to have a charter that ensure that engineers are ethical and they use trustworthy sources to provide you the information that you're looking for. At the same time, we must make sure that it must not come together with any bias. It has to provide the respective intuitive policies that can help you with the answers you're looking for. In other words, as a summary, I would say that the benefits of adopting AI will come with a price. And that price is humans need to upgrade ourselves in order to best appreciate and adopt technology. Now, to do so, let me go back to a bit of fundamentals. I want to differentiate between what's science, what's technology, and what's innovation. Here is my attempt to look at the three notions, the three concepts. Well, science to me is the study of the natural world. It tells you what it is, right? These are facts, right? There's no two ways about it, right? There's only the facts. Technology is the study of what we humans want to make of the world, what can be. It is something that we create and we build it into an application. And more importantly, it relies on the facts, the science of the world. Thirdly is innovation. Innovation is the adoption of both science and technology. It is the how to do it. Innovation gives us the extra edge. It tells us what we can do to help it achieve what we want to achieve. So where do I put ChatGPT? That is a technology. We need to know how do we innovate ChatGPT into our application, use it in the most appropriate way for us to become successful. Well, AI is going to change our life, and I draw this little paragraph from World Economic Forum that talks about the fact that AI is slowly shaping our future, and ChatGPT is going to accelerate the whole change that we're looking at. I also read this magazine called the Yuan, and the Yuan in the recent months started to publish around AI and humanity. And it's important for us to say that in the adoption of AI, we must make sure that AI eventually augments into our human value, right? The speed at which AI orchestrates across all the different domains, and it's quite unimaginable, right? Human cannot be everywhere, but software can. And in that sense, that AI must have an image or representation of human values as we start to apply them. So to look at all this, let me show you this picture, right? This is an AI generated image of a horse. Now, as we look at it, it's wow, beautifully done. But is there something wrong with it? The answer is yes, right? As a human, we would easily and very quickly catch that a horse has four legs. But this one image that's been composed by AI have produced 5 legs, right? And the system is not able, AI today is not clearly able to use human judgment to make the conclusion of what we see as conceptually common sense in the different application. Now, I want to talk about AI and how AI and humans can be augmenting each other. The different methods, right? Whether it's physical guidance, reactive, multimodal, and so on and so forth. But let me show you this particular example of what we can do. In the past, we definitely look at machines and AI as part of just a interface where it helped us interact between what the machines would do and what we could do. But slowly and realistically, we started to have virtual reality. We started to build ourselves to work together with machines, and we're able to see how the different components in the virtual world, in the imagery world, can work with us. In a ubiquitous environment, right, we are able to see us working together with multiple machines, multiple computers are able to fit into us and apply as necessary. I think we need to move into a space whereby we're able to leverage on technology, leverage on computers, robots, and tools that can interface with us and work seamlessly with us in order to achieve the necessary work they want to do. And we will become hand in hand good partners in the real world. That itself is going to make us the superhuman, the human that's able to leverage on technology, leverage on AI to achieve what we want to do. And the whole augmentation of technology to support the human capability becomes extremely, extremely important. With the advance of AI, with machines costs going down and the connectivity that we're seeing, cloud technology, and so on and so forth, we definitely, right? I repeat, we definitely see the path towards an augmented human environment. Technology will support us to do what we need to do. Technology should enable us to achieve our potential and possibly do more. I see AI and machines coming together to do 2 things, right? One is what I call 0 to 1. For those who are deficient, AI and robotics should be able to help the human become more efficient. And 1 plus, in other words, the augmentation of technology should help us to extend our potential and help us achieve more. 0 to 1 and 1 plus, that will become a very meaningful adoption of technology. So, will AI replace our job? Well, I like this little graphics, right? AI is so powerful that it's slowly freeing up so much of my time in the schedule. So the question is, what do you do with your free time? I hope we don't end up saying that, well, mostly worrying about whether AI will take over my job and writing your resume for a new job. I think we need to really look at how we transition from an automation to an augmentation perspective in the use of AI. In the past, we look at how technology could automate a lot of our tasks, but we should look at now in the future how technology could augment our capability and help us achieve more. Well, I must say that we all have our dreams, right? Some of us want to make it happen. We think about it. Some of us wish that we can make it happen, and others make it happen. I hope the members of Maker Group Foundation and the audience that's listening would make things happen, and we can make things happen. I'll leave you with this comment, which I believe in very much. Max Planck, as we all know it, is the father of quantum physics. And he said this: when you change the way you look at things, the things you look at change. And if we want to be innovative, sometimes what we see in the past may not be necessarily what could be in the future. We sometimes have to take a different look at the things that we're seeing today in order to innovate, in order to look at how technology can augment our capability. And the confusion around AI taking over our jobs and displacing our tasks, I think if we look at it differently, we should explore the possibility of using technology to augment our capability. I take this opportunity to share a little bit about an event that we're organizing in August this year. It's called AI Robotics, and we've been running this since 2019. So AI in robotics, we believe in that, and our theme for this year will be connecting technology to human values. One final word before I end and open up for any questions, right? This is a message by Gary Kasparov, right? Some of you may know of him as the chess master of the 90s. Unfortunately, he lost to the computer when he played his last chess game. He said this, and I fully agree with it. We need better humans, not less technology. We need humans who can get better and better. We need to reskill ourselves. We need to pick up skills, understand technology, not fear technology and have less of it. AI will not replace you, that's for sure. But the person who knows how to use AI will replace you if you don't pick up the AI skills. All right, with that, let me thank you very much. My email is contact is on the screen. I'm open for any questions that the audience may have. Over to you.
Thank you, Oliver. I really the image of the guy with the televisions really hit me. That yeah, one day if we use AI, it's gonna be like so much better in the short term. But how about us? How can we change and how can we learn with that speed? So without further ado, like any participant want to ask questions, and I'm open the floor for everyone. You can actually unmute yourself or type the question in the chat box.
I'll share for now and see if anyone has any questions.
Yeah.
I reserve 5 minutes for the end, so please feel free to ask questions.
Yeah.
A very quiet audience.
Maybe they just have too much. Yeah, there you go. We have the ethics of AI. Yeah.
Uh,
So Olena asked about it.
okay, so we have a question around elaborating the ethics of AI. Um, Now, as we all can see, AI is slowly becoming, short of a better word, very powerful. Very powerful in the sense that it can do almost anything, right? It's just like saying that if we give a child a hammer, will the child do good with the hammer or will the child abuse the hammer, right? And if we leave the creation of AI application in the hands of the engineers, and if you've got good engineers who build good solutions, responsible technology, then we're all in good shape. But on the other hand, if we have an engineer who use AI for the wrong purpose, right, then that becomes a big and major issue. I'm also seeing that there are slowly charters and countries that have initiated policies around the ethical use of AI. What should AIs be used for? Should AI be used for fakes and scams? But those are issues that we need to talk about, and we need to build some of these principles, some of these guidelines into the AI skilled engineers who can understand and appreciate the right adoption of technology. So back to the child with the hammer, right? If you give a child a hammer, the child could be knocking together a table, a wooden table for use, or the child could take the hammer and smash everything in the house, right? So the ethics of using AI becomes extremely important, and there are slowly and surely a lot of organizations that looks into that. I'm familiar with a UK organization that looks at ethical AI, right? And they do auditing of AI applications to make sure that the AI do not do the wrong things. I see that we have a second question, right? Um, well, the most important research area in AI today, in my view, is really around how can humans tee up to appreciate technology. Now, the reskilling or the upskilling of humans' knowledge and skills is very, very important. You can have the best AI tool, but if you do not know how to use it, you do not know how to appreciate it, then the biggest challenge is the AI will go to waste. Or worse still, it's only used by the privileged, and the digital divide gets wider and wider. So programs like this, I fully support because it brings the awareness of AI to everyone so that we can all be able to appreciate the technology. Well, we have two more questions coming up. May I know if there are any working mechanism to safeguard against unethical use of AI in Hong Kong? I'm probably not able to answer that, but I guess we can have that discussion separately, and happy to do some research with my counterpart in Hong Kong. I work together with some professors with City University, right? And I guess Professor Liu could give some inputs into that. So, Elena, I'll be happy to touch with you separately and connect you to the professors in Hong Kong, and perhaps we can identify some of these needs and look at the possible mechanism to be put in place in Hong Kong. One final question, I guess. Is there research on the percentage of current job that has been replaced by AI? Um, well, there are some reports that's being published by the the World Economic Forum, right, WEF. So if you Google WEF, there's some reports. Offhand, if I remember correctly, there's a suggestion that 65 million jobs around the world will be displaced by technology, not just AI alone, right? But at the same time, about 75 million jobs will be created. But these jobs are going to be new jobs, right? New jobs. Just to give you an example, when I graduate, the jobs that we're looking at were programmer, analyst, and some of you who belong to that generation could appreciate that. There's no such thing as a webmaster. There's no such thing as a software engineer or an AI engineer, right? And in the last 18 months, right, there is a huge advocate for a prompt engineer. There are courses being run on prompt engineering, and there is a high demand for skills for people with that questioning skill to leverage multimodal language systems to extract information to support marketing, to support sales, and particularly to look at education itself. So we are definitely going to create new jobs, and the speed at which we're going to create new jobs is going to go up faster and faster. At the same time, we must be mindful that there'll be jobs that will be automated. There'll be jobs that will require augmentation and human technology, technology and humans, and we need new skills to be able to master that. So I'm not worried about job being replaced by AI. I believe humans, as we are the best creatures to adopt technology. And through history, right, we have gone through so many industry transformation, industry revolutions, and we have always come out masters. So keep tab on technology, understand what's happening, and I believe, right, the day will come where we will not end up with Wally, but really Captain Kirk of Star Trek, where he's able to ask questions to the computer, get the answers, and do the final decision of what's best. All right. So I think we're running short of
Yeah.
time. Thank you everyone for that. I'll be happy to talk to any one of you. And if you need to get in touch with me, you can reach me on LinkedIn. You should be able to find me, or you can send me an email at oliver@apara.asia. Thank you everyone. Have a good
Thank you.
afternoon.